We're going to start with Chris Stock from InsideTheU. Chris, if you had a question for Coach Stroud.
Yeah, Coach, I was curious about how John Ford and Nesta are doing. And also just last year, kind of looking back, they both dealt with injuries. Obviously, Nesta misses the beginning. I think John was dealing with his hand stuff at least part of the time. And do you see any differences with them now? And I assuming they're healthy now.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we feel real good about both those guys. And again, for these big guys, I think the biggest challenge during the pandemic, for a couple of guys that are 300 plus pounds, it was managing body weight. And both of them did a terrific job. Jade came back and he was about 300 pounds. John was a little heavy when he came back. He was about 334. He's down to 322. He'll probably play at 315. But both those guys are moving around very well and progressing as you would expect. For John being a senior and Jade being a third-year guy, they're both veterans now. They've taken snaps. They know what to expect. And they did a great job, like I said, with their bodies over the quarantine.
Awesome. Coach, we're going to go to Manny Navarro at The Athletic. Manny, if you had a question for Coach Stroud.
Hey, Coach Stroud, I know this was written about in the past, that, your history, your health concerns and everything. And it feels like, in this time that we're dealing with, it would be something at the forefront with the virus. I guess, what was you thinking in coming back? Did you consider at all stepping away this season? And if not, what convinced you, hey, I can do this, I can come back and still coach even during this pandemic?
Sure. You know what, Manny, fortunately, for us, and I know Manny mentioned this, but, Dr. Frank is a pandemic expert, and he's an infectious disease guy. And after looking at a lot of different models and looking at our testing protocol and what we're going through and how we're kind of keeping our circle tight, I felt really comfortable about coming back, because unfortunately I'm that guy that's kind of been quarantined for 57 years. I don't have a big life outside of football, so I'm not, I don't get out and see many folks. So my circle is very tight, and I felt totally safe, coming back to work with the testing protocol and what we have going on. So I'm very confident that we're heading in the right direction, as far as what Dr. Frank and what Blake and Manny we've instituted. It's really been quite remarkable, with the way our kids are scattered out in a very populous area and what they've been able to accomplish as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, next up, we're going to go to Susan Miller-Degnan of the Miami Herald. Susan, if you had a question for Coach Stroud.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hello, Susan.
Wondering about your emotions. I was asking Manny Diaz and being able to practice now, knowing that so many great football players are not as fortunate as you guys today. And, it's been such a challenging time. What's it been like for you? Is it kind of strange watching all this unfold?
Yeah, it really has. But, I think football during the course of this quarantine and shelter in place and everything we've been through was kind of the carrot, and I think that Coach Diaz did a remarkable job of being transparent, with the administration, with our players, with the families that we deal with, and constantly keeping them updated. And it was always the carrot. And I think Manny was very transparent, and he knew there was a chance that we may not get this far, and the whole thing might be bagged or canceled. But, right now, just to step on that grass again, I think our kids are energized and they're excited and just happy to be back. When you've been a member of a team for so long, I don't know if a lot of these guys miss football, but I think what we miss as we get older is we miss the camaraderie. We miss being around the kids. We miss the daily interaction, as coaches. We miss the joking. We miss smiling and laughing, and it's just great to be around the kids, and I think that reciprocates with them too. I think they're just as excited as we are to be back.
Coach, we're going to go to Matt Shodell at Canesport. Matt, if you had a question for Coach Stroud.
Yeah, Coach, I guess we haven't really talked to you since the whole Gregory Rousseau thing. Can you sort of fill us in maybe on how you're trying to set up your starting defensive ends, if you have the depth you want, just sort of the plan, with Gregory not playing?
Sure. And once again, Greg was an exceptional talent, and he had measurables that were certainly first round measurables, and he put up some numbers last year, and he made a family decision, and we wish Greg all the success in the world. He's one of the most wonderful kids I've ever coached in 35 years. He's a total package guy. You guys know him. You've talked to him. What a wonderful kid. The beauty of this defense and what we've been able to do here at Miami is we've been able to recruit depth. And I think that our style of defensive play, we don't really talk about 4, but we talk about 8. We try to be too deep on our front, and that end depth that we talked about, we have 3 guys right now going into camp, and I believe you'll talk to 2 of them tonight, but we have 3 guys going into camp that I think can be very dominating players, in our conference. Number 1 in Jalen Phillips, Quincy Roche, and Jafari Harvey. The challenge for me now is sorting things over the next couple weeks, as we get into our first scrimmage and get in full pads and we fly around, is to try to decipher where we are with the 4th and 5th end position. And we got some very capable guys out there that have showed really well here the first couple of days of practice. We got Cam Williams, who is a veteran coming back after an academic redshirt year, who really shows promise. We got a young pass rusher in last year's class from Oakleaf named Chance Williams, who during the pandemic, he went from 238 to 261, and he's kind of settled back at about 255 now and still runs very well and really rushes the passer and has started off very strong, looked very good tonight. And then we got a couple of true freshmen in here that have both, they haven't shied away and have jumped right in. And so we got a good problem right now. I got 5 other guys I got to evaluate. And, Elijah Roberts, Quentin Williams, the 2 freshmen, and we'll make some decisions over the next few weeks. But we have 3 right now that I feel are as talented as anyone, that we've had here a long time at the university, which is, it's a beautiful thing.
Awesome. Coach, we've got time for a few more. We're going to go to David Ferrones of the Sun Sentinel. David, if you had a question for Coach Stroud.
Yes, Coach. So along those lines, once Greg Rousseau did decide to opt out, that made it where your top 4 defensive ends from last year, if you look at Greg Rousseau, John Garvin, Trevon Hill, and even Scott Patchen, the 2 deep at the 2 spots are now gone. Is there a concern though with experience? Guys playing lacking experience. And how do you really make up for that? Aside from obviously Quincy Roche, who has played but at another school, how do you kind of overcome a lack of experience at the position?
Well, I'll tell you, and the 2 guys that are kind of penciled in right now would be Quincy, and as you said, he's a veteran football player, and he's taken hundreds of snaps in game situations. The other guy, the transfer, Jalen Phillips from UCLA, he played sparingly his first year 1, and he has a little bit of college experience. He's practiced against some big folks, and just judging from what I've seen in the first 4 days, just as far as what his measurables are and what he's been able to do, I think his adjustment's going to be a very easy one, so I really feel like I have 2 veterans, that are going to be in the room with us. And then Jafari Harvey played in 3 or 4 games last year in the kicking game and played a few snaps in the bowl game, which was good that we got his feet wet a little bit. And just academically, not academically, but athletically, what he brings to the table. And the reps that he's taken in practice have been very, very valuable. But we're fixing to find out here real soon.
Awesome. Coach, we have David Lake from 24/7 Sports. David, if you had a question for Coach Stroud.
Yeah, I guess I got 2 questions for you, Coach, if you don't mind. Just Jalen Phillips, coming out of high school, he was regarded as a real athletic guy. I guess, would you agree with that assessment now from what you've seen from him, in the spring and then these first few days of practice? And then also Jason Blissett, is he where do you have him kind of working out right now? Is he an edge guy? Is he inside? Where do you project him?
To answer the question, I would put Jalen Phillips in the 99th percentile of any player I've ever coached as far as physical attributes. He weighs 270 pounds right now, and runs like a safety, and his physical attributes are amazing. His ability to run and jump and twitch is exactly what you want at that position at his height right now. So, I wouldn't worry about his, measurables as far as, what I've seen so far, I think that the athlete meets the hype, as far as him being whatever, a 5-star guy or whatever the star rankings are these days. And what we've done with Jason is because of our depth at tackle and looking at different guys in the ends that we took in the last class, we've moved Jason back inside, and he's competing for playing time in there as a defensive tackle.
Coach is
he's
sorry.
doing a great job, by the way.
Didn't mean to interrupt you, Coach. This is the last one. This is Chris Perkins from Sports Illustrated. Chris, if you had a question for Coach Stroud.
Hey, Coach, I've got a couple of things for you, and they're both regarding the Big Ten and Pac-12 announcements today. Number one, I know that it's a tight coaching fraternity. Have you, and I know you've been busy today, have you had a chance to talk to any of your counterparts in either conference about the decisions to postpone the season? And then number two, I know Quincy Roche, a fifth-year guy, did you have to talk to him today? How has his focus been? Has he kind of been on edge a little bit at the possibility of not playing in the fall? Well,
to answer your first question, I really don't have any colleagues because everyone's retired. But and I really haven't talked to anyone in those leagues. As far as the get back to play or cancel the season type of thing. But Quincy Roche has been solid as a rock, with us as far as his return to play. He has never wavered. He knows that he came here for a reason. He came here to improve his draft status, and he had a great career at Temple, and he came here to improve his draft status. So it would be silly to rest on his laurels and not be, relish the opportunity to play, with the Miami Hurricanes on this defense and see what he can do in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So he's been great. He's been a tremendous leader for us, and I can't see enough positive things about Quincy, as far as what he's done for us.
Thank you.
Coach Stroud, thank you for taking a few minutes with us tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. Good luck in tomorrow's practice.
All right, thank you.